Hello, I'm Staff Sergeant Griffith, and I will be teaching you how to lay a 5-course corner lead. Alright, when it comes to setting up your workstation, you will first need to gather your tools, which includes a 4-foot masonry level, a trowel, and a wood folding rule. We want to ensure that they remain just like this in the block so they do not get damaged. We want to ensure that our mortar board is wet prior to placing any mortar on it. This ensures that the mortar will not dry out while you're working. So once you receive your mortar, you want to ensure that it's the proper consistency. The way that we do this is by taking a good bit of our mortar, slapping it down on our mortar board, and flipping it to ensure that it sticks to our trowel. Now that we've laid out our building lines, it's time to place our corner lead. So we're going to do that by placing our bed. We're going to lay a nice thick bed. Laying a thicker bed gives you more room to work with. Once you've laid your bed, you will furrow it. This spreads the mortar more evenly, ensuring that your block goes down evenly. I like to grab the block on each end, straight arm, looking down at my lines. I'm going to look down the edge of my block and look at my line. My straight arms ensure that I place it as level as possible. I'm not pushing the block, I just set the block in place. Once we've done that, we go through steps. Now step 1 will be to measure our height. Our height should be 8 inches tall. The first reason we check for height to begin with is because if you're below 8 inches, there's no point in continuing. So we'll check height. We're above 8 inches, which is good. Next is to check level. I'm going to place my level in the center of the block. The bubble trends to the high side. So what I like to do is I like to grab the block, ensuring that when I tap this side down, it does not fall. So I'm going to tap the high side down until it is level. Then I'm going to transition my level so I can check level this way. Now that is step 2. Now we move back to step 1. Anytime we make any adjustments, we go back to step 1, checking height. So I'm still high, I'm still above 8 inches. So now that my block is level in both directions, we can check alignment. Alignment, so checking alignment with our level is checking to see if it's square to our building lines. Drawing a line there. We'll do the same thing over here. Tap the end of the block until you're aligned with your building lines. Check this side again. We're good there. We've made an adjustment, so we'll go back to step 1. Check for height. We're still high, which is good. We'll go and we'll check level again, which is good. This side dropped a little, so I'm going to tap this side down. And it's level. So now that my block is level all the way across and aligned to my building lines, I can bring it down in one solid unit to 8 inches tall. So I tap evenly across the block, leaving my level in place so I can monitor that it still remains level and plumb. Check for height. We're at 16th high. Check height again. We want to ensure that we only check the corner for our height. And we're good. We're at 8 inches. I've already laid the bed for my next block. Now it's time to butter my block. This will form the head joint for our block. Want a nice thin butter. I do this by spreading the mortar on. If I have too much, I'll cut it away. In a nice thin amount, tip down, cant it in, scrape away. And then we'll place our block. Web side up, give the block a rock, And again, I'm aligning off my building lines, ensuring that I'm as close as I can get to my 3/8 head joint. I do this by the thickness of my finger. This gets me pretty close to my 3/8 inch head joint. Then we're going to level our block. I'm going to tap the side down till we're level, and it's high. We want to ensure that it's high so that we can bring it down level. We're leveling it off of our first block. We are not checking height anywhere along this block. You will not check height anywhere along this block. We only check our height at the outside corner. So once we have it level, we're going to bring it down evenly. We're going to check for level, pretty good. Then we're going to check alignment. We check alignment off of our first block and our building lines. So we tap the block until we are aligned, and there is no gap between the level and our block, and it is on our line. Check for level again. Now we're level all the way across. Now we have to measure our length. To ensure we maintained our 3/8 inch head joint, we do this by measuring our block. Our block is 15 5/8 plus a 3/8 inch head joint makes it 16 inches plus 15 5/8 for a total length of 31 5/8, which I'm at. Alright, so now that we have our first course laid, we can begin our second course. We do this by adding mortar onto the first course, taking your trowel, tip down, angled in, smear it down. Same thing going this way, ensuring that our blocks interlock over each consecutive course. Here over the joint, we just put it like that. Here, tip down, angle in. Just like before, we want to ensure that we have our web thick part up. Come over, watching our building lines and the edges of our existing course. And we just set it into that bed. Do not push, just gently set it. At this point, I'm going to clean up my block so I can easily get it closer to where its final resting place will be. You can feel a lot with your trowel. If your trowel catches on the edge, it means it's sticking out too high. Alright, so now we go back to our steps. Step 1, we check for height. Our height now at the second course should be 16 inches, which we're a little high, which is good, which is where we want to be. Then we go to step 2, level. So we're going to check for level. Once it's level, we made an adjustment. We check for plumb. Again, I'd like to grab the side opposite of what I'm tapping so it doesn't drop farther than I need it to. Level. Now we're going to go back to step 1, which is check for height. And now we need to tool our joints. We do this by using the sled runner for our bed joints and the S tool jointer for our vertical joints. So we tool our bed joints first because it creates this divot. And then we tool our vertical joints after. This allows the water, when the building's complete, to run down. And then just clean it up.